Bun găsit tuturor! Sunt Alina Dima, gazda dumneavoastră, așa cum sunteți deja obișnuiți, și astăzi vom face o călătorie absolut fabuloasă într-o țară care are o istorie, o cultură și o civilizație impresionante. Vom vorbi în această zi minunată despre Turcia, o țară care a însemnat imperii, o țară care a însemnat civilizație pentru o mare parte din Europa. Și astăzi, alături de noi, pentru o conversație extrem de interesantă despre tradiții, cultură și turism legate de Turcia, este excelența sa, doamna ambasador Füsun Aramaz. Hello, and thank you so much for having us here today at the embassy. And it's truly an honor for us to be here, and hopefully we will find out so many interesting facts about Turkey.
Bine ați venit. It's a pleasure for me as well to get together with you today to give some information about Turkey.
Turkey has an impressive history. If it were to talk only about the Byzantine Empire or about the Ottoman Empire and how much it has changed in the evolution of the entire European continent, it would take us probably the whole show for today. Sure. But I would like to focus our attention in regards to an aspect of recent history in Turkey, and that is the establishment or the foundation of the Turkish Republic. And I would like to stop a little bit on one very important personality, and that would be Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. He is a symbol of the Turkish nation, but why is he so important?
Yes. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk is the founder of today's modern Turkey, of course. He was not only a brilliant military commander, but he was a great statesman and visionary political leader as well. He was commanding the Turkish army during the Independence War, and Independence War was fought right after the First World War, and after the war Turkey was occupied by Allied powers, and Atatürk was the person to gather the army and fight against the occupied powers and win the Independence War. And right after the independence, Turkey accepted Republican regime, and Grand National Assembly declared Turkish Republic in 1923. And Atatürk was chosen as the first president of Turkey. And he initiated lots of reforms to transfer old Turkey to today's modern Turkish Republic. Actually, as Turkish women, we owe our current status to Mustafa Kemal Atatürk as well, because she brought Turkish women to its place back in the society as equal to men, and he granted civil and political rights, and Turkish women was one of the first to acquire right to vote and to be voted in 1930s.
One of the reforms was actually to change the way of writing in the Turkish language, because up until his arrival and his election as the first president of the Republic of Turkey, when you wrote in Turkish, you wrote with Arabic alphabet from right to left.
Yes.
And everything changed with him.
Yes.
And this is how probably Turkey became even more open to the European culture and civilization. And I think after his reforms, Turkey opened a lot more to the Western world. Is that right?
Actually, yes, Arabic alphabet was used during the Ottoman period, but the language was Turkish. So there was not there was a discrepancy. They were not matching well, and it was difficult for ordinary people to learn Arabic handwriting. That's why the literacy rate was very low during the Ottoman, especially till towards the end of the empire. And with the Latin alphabet, also Atatürk started a campaign for all people to learn, read and write, irrespective of their ages. So it was a huge campaign to raise the rate of literacy, and it was successful. And true, it opened our doors for more communication with West in terms of literature and sciences and other fields.
Tourism is a very important part of the Turkish economy, but I would like to ask you, how much does it contribute to the welfare of the state?
Turkey is among the top 10 destinations in the world, if I'm not mistaken, 6th among other countries, according to some travel agencies. And last year, around 50 million tourists visited Turkey, and it is approximately $30 billion revenue from tourism. Turkish economy has gathered, and of course, tourism is important for introducing Turkey and Turkish culture to other people. And we are very happy about the tourist numbers from Romania as well. Last year, almost around 800,000 Romanians visited Turkey. And of course, we think it's a good way to introduce us more, and Romanian people will learn more and more about Turkish people, country, history, culture.
Especially because we do have a common history. At some point we did have some encounters. Some of them weren't necessarily the most fortunate ones, but that's history. And since we talked about tourism and we opened this very interesting topic, I would dare to ask, what do you think would be the top tourist sites in Turkey? I know it's a difficult choice to make because there are so many splendid places in Turkey. If it were only to talk about Istanbul, there are so many beautiful palaces, and even the Bosphorus can give you all sorts of stories and legends. But could you help me in trying to explain to our viewers which would be the most interesting places to visit?
Yes, Istanbul, of course, comes at the first place with history, with culture, architecture, you said palaces, and nature, Bosphorus, bridging Anatolia and Europe. And we have in the south, in the Riviera, Antalya, with its towns nearby, coasting Mediterranean, such as Belek, Kemer, Alanya, Side. And we have Aegean Sea and Aegean cities around Aegean for holiday purposes. In Anatolia, we have Cappadocia, of course, very interesting UNESCO cultural heritage site. And in the eastern part, we have other sites. Mount Nemrut is one of them. And Black Sea is like across the Black Sea border of Romania, and it's very green and different cuisine. Of course, we can make the list bigger and bigger.
You mentioned the cuisine.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is fascinated about gastronomy in general, mm-hmm. and all the people that travel to a different country want to taste the local food. How is the food scenery in Turkey? I know it's very, very rich, but could you mention a few traditional mm-hmm. dishes?
Of course, with pleasure. In Istanbul, we can talk about the influence of the Ottoman cuisine, with slight spices and with bulgur, for example, instead of rice, and all kinds of vegetables, stewed vegetables. And when we come to Aegean part, olive and olive oil is very important, and people use olive oil for cooking everything, including rice. And in the Black Sea region, of course, fish is very dominant. Anchovy, hamsi, is very popular, and all other kinds of fish. And in the south, we have varieties of all kinds of kebab, köfte, and desserts like baklava, şöbiyet, kadayıf.
That everybody knows and absolutely adores.
It's very well known.
We have something in the Romanian, some influences actually in the Romanian gastronomy. If it were to talk about sarmale or sarmalar.
Yes, sarmala is the same. Çorba, sarmale, kiftele. We have börek, you call it placinta, but very similar. We see the similarities between Turkish and Romanian cuisine.
Food sometimes is associated mm-hmm. with happy events in people's lives. And I would like to talk about that, the happy mm-hmm. events, mm-hmm. meaningly engagements and weddings. How mm-hmm. do engagements and weddings look like in the Turkish tradition?
Mm-hmm. We have a long procedure for weddings in Turkish tradition. You said engagement, it comes first, and then, but before engagement, families come together in traditional way, and they know each other, and they officially ask the bride from the family. And upon the agreement, preparations for engagement starts. And normally, engagement also a ceremony among relatives and family and friends. But of course, the wedding is the biggest event. And prior to wedding also, there are some ceremonies. For example, henna night is organized traditionally, and a bride comes together with her friends. They put henna in their hands, and it is symbolic. It is both happy moment, and also it includes a bit of sadness, because the daughter of the family is leaving the house. And then shortly afterwards starts the wedding. In some villages, it may take a couple of days for the wedding, and they organize in open places. And the interesting part is the wedding is open to all people around, inclusive. And of course, it's a joy for the whole village.
How about the salty coffee?
In
the engagement ceremony.
You know
what does
details.
It represent?
So, as I said, first the families come together and they see the bride, and during that meeting, bride brings salty coffee to the groom, and if he drinks it and he is calm and relaxed, I think he passes the exam.
I understand that Turkish names have a certain significance, and I suppose that there is also a tradition behind this. What I mean is that, for example, Cesur means brave, Deniz means both sea and the color blue. So where does this tradition come from?
Actually, some of the names come from nature, like you mentioned, Deniz. We have gök, göksu, sky. We have all other kind of like natural components and flowers, for example, are widely used. Çiçek, different flowers, gül, triandafir, rose. And we have other set of names that originates from Turkic tribes like Han, Batu, Kaan, Cengiz, Timur. It goes back to our ancestors coming from Central Asia. And we have other names related with Islam, Islamic religion. Mehmet, Osman, Hassan, other kind of names. And but you can find most of the names in the dictionary, and they have a meaning, actually. They are not just names.
So this is decided by the family when a baby is born, considering some specifics that the baby might have, or a tradition that runs in the family?
It may change, I think. Yes, from family to family.
We talked about significance and traditions, and I think the next topic comes right at the perfect point, because I want to ask you about places that are considered holy and miraculous in Turkey. For example, places where people go to ask for certain things and hope for their wishes to come true.
Yes. Turkey has important religious sites, actually. For example, for Christian believers, we have Cappadocia. And Cappadocia is, of course, interesting with fairy chimneys, some rocks in the Göreme Valley, rock formations, and cave people used to live in them. But also, first Christians were taking a shield in those rock caves, and in Ihlara Canyon there are many rock churches, and for Christian people it is a must-see site, I think, when they go to Turkey. And we have Ephesus nearby, Izmir, Efes. Christian people believe that the mother of Prophet Christ lived there for some time, and it's like a pilgrimage for Christian people as well. But another interesting place has been discovered very recently. It is in Şanlıurfa. The archaeological site is called Göbekli Tepe, and it has been discovered some years ago, and it has been understood that it is the oldest religious site, a temple. The oldest temple was built in that site, and it changed completely the history. It required the rewriting of history, actually, because this temple was built even before the settlement of the people.
There are a few Turkish authors that have become known in the public scene worldwide, like Orhan Pamuk or Elif Shafak. Do you think that they are spokespersons promoting the Turkish language and culture and also the traditions throughout their writings and their works?
Of course, Orhan Pamuk is the first Turkish author winning a Nobel Prize for literature. That's why his contribution is important to Turkish literature. And we have other known writers from Turkey writing mostly fictions, and their books were translated to Romanian language as well. İhsan Oktay Anar, for example, we can see in the bookstores his books. And women writers, Ayşe Kulin and Buket Uzuner, those are also prominent writers known by Romanian readers as well.
From writers to movies or to TV series, in the past few years, there have been broadcasted throughout the Romanian televisions many Turkish TV series. Why do you think they have so much success? What's the reason?
I think Romanian people find some similarities between Turkish people. It might be because of our common history and then common cultural denomination, and we understand each other, and I guess yes, those also series and movies introduce Turkey and Turkish people more, and maybe some curiosity about Turkey.
There is a very interesting festival that happens in Turkey probably every year. It's regarding an ancient tradition of the dervish and their dance, which is held in Konya.
Yes.
What really happens there?
Konya is hometown of Sufism, and Mevlana Celaleddin Rumi is the very famous poet and Islamic philosopher who lived in 13th century in Konya. And he created this Sufi interpretation, and this festival is dedicated to Mevlana and Sufism. And this whirling dervishes actually is a ceremony which is very symbolic and Sufism. It is symbolizing the death and rebirth of the spirit.
Now let's come back to Romania. And I would like to ask you, what do you like or what do you love most about our country?
It's a beautiful country. I like very much Constanța and the region. Of course, we have a Turkish Tatar minority living in Dobruja region, so it is, we consider our community as a bridge connecting Turkey to Romania, so this is special for me. And Romanian people, of course, are very kind, very open, and they are very close to Turkish people. When I was in Constanța, I discovered that we are not much different. We can understand each other. And hospitality, for example, Romanian hospitality is very similar to Turkish hospitality. We share a lot. That's why we get along very well.
One final word for our viewers.
I advise all Romanian people to look for a possibility to visit Turkey. I'm sure wherever they go, they will like it and will come back with good memories and happy moments.
Mrs. Ambassador, çok teşekkür ederim. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation once again and for the beautiful conversation. I'm quite sure that everyone found out a few more interesting things about Turkey, and I guess there are already a few that are planning their summer vacation in Turkey. Let's hope so.
Cu mare piacere.
Dragii mei, vă mulțumesc că ne-ați urmărit și astăzi. Am făcut un periplu extrem de interesant prin Turcia și vă invit să mergeți și să vizitați această țară absolut splendidă. Sunt convinsă că vă va lăsa cu respirația tăiată. Merită, într-adevăr. Până la următoarea noastră întâlnire însă, nu uitați să vă transformați viața într-o poveste frumoasă.